It's about time for another Coach Life. I was told that the key to life is proportion. It was in a philosophy class in college, and when I heard it, I said, it resonated with me. And then another philosopher said, everything is good in moderation. And it resonated with me. And then my philosophy teacher, he was up there in the years, but very energetic, very true to himself. He said, I don't know how the topic of cruise ships came up, but he said, I hate cruise ships. If I had a submarine, I'd sink every one of them. And I laughed and I agreed to some extent then, but wow, do I agree now. And I keep trying to figure out why it's so triggering for me that people still travel to experience culture before having built or experienced a culture of their own. I don't know why it's so triggering to me. I assumed it was a mix of jealousy or what, the normal triggering things. But now that I reflect on my old philosophy teacher, a philosopher in his own right, and everything in moderation, and now I get it. Now I understand why it's so triggering. Think about how crazy it is to go somewhere for culture when you can build culture on your own. Think about how wild it is to, when you have free time to enjoy what you have, you go to what someone else has. Now, we've been struggling with this the grass is greener on the other side conundrum for quite some time, and I don't know if we'll ever be done struggling with it, but I am. And my Coach Life to you today is to task you with peace. See, those of us who came from humble beginnings, we look at people with money, and we're trained to look at people with money, millionaires, billionaires, rich folk, white folk. We're trained to look at them as desirable. Oh, I wish I had that. So a lot of us spend our whole life force trying to achieve some magical number which we think will bring us happiness. Turns out it's like 10.5 for most people. If you're really moving around and hustling, it ends up being more like 25 million, 10.5 million, which is happiness. It used to be $1 million. I want to have $1 million, but then people understood quickly $1 million barely gets you a house in a decent neighborhood. So, and then it became 10.5 is a happy number, 25, you can live off of interest, hedge fund, all that stuff. But what you realize once you see through it, so you don't even have to have the bread, you can see through it. You can imagine, okay, let's say you have 100 million. That's why I asked the 400 million, 400 billion question. I can't believe this Coach Life was 4 minutes already. See through it. You have $100 million. It's week 1. You done ate everything you wanted to eat. You have $100 million. You wake up, shopping for sure. You go out with friends, you take a trip, you do everything you wanted to do that money stopped you from doing, right? But what you realize quickly, I gotta pace this thing out. I can't just eat everything and party all the time. I still gotta work out. I still gotta regulate my system. I still gotta tap in with my, And then also, you're gonna get bored. Okay, so you eat the shrimp and lobster and the steak. You went to Bali, you went to Hawaii, you went to everywhere you wanted to go. In the first 6 months, you done touched every part of the earth that you wanted to touch. In the first year, you ate everything you wanted to eat, touched everything you wanted to touch. You had all the, everybody, oh, look at you, if that's what you got all the looks, all the feels, all the experiences that money can buy. You would have had that. In a year, you had them all. Congratulations, you're now 1 year older. The hell do you do? You're probably fat, unhealthy, hypertension, depressed, lonely. The Lord knows how many times you had to realize somebody wasn't your friend, they was just around because you was spending bread, right? So then once you had a bread and you go through all of that, year 1, year 2, you probably start to realize, oh, who I was before the bread was actually like, I was a kind of dope person. Like, I worked in the school. I helped kids. Like, I inspire people. When people see me, they smile, they speak. When I walk past someone in the street who needs help, I help them. Then you become your own ideal. It was always in you. So the money does the smoke and mirror illusions. And don't get me wrong, you need a little bit of change. It's nice to have it. But understand, it cannot be your end goal because you have life force in you. Imagine a tree being jealous of $1. Coach Life.